Margaret Fetterolf was an American murder victim hailing from Alexandria, Virginia. Her remains were discovered on September 12, 1976, in Woodlawn, Baltimore County, Maryland. For 45 years, her identity remained unknown until September 2021, when DNA testing conducted by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Bode Technology, and Othram successfully identified her. Before her identification, she was referred to as Woodlawn Jane Doe, named after the locality where her body was found. On that fateful morning at 10:20 a.m., the body of a woman estimated to be between 15 and 30 years old was located, partially wrapped in a white sheet. The victim had suffered severe violence, including beating, strangulation, and sexual assault, which resulted in bleeding that stained her clothing. It is believed she was killed elsewhere and subsequently moved to a location along Dogwood Road near the rear entrance of a cemetery. A Ford Econoline van may be connected to the case, as it was reported in the vicinity an hour before the discovery of her body. The victim was adorned with a necklace made of turquoise-colored stone beads strung on rawhide. Additionally, she had 2 brass keys, one likely for a house and the other for a night latch attached to a safety pin found in the pocket of her tan-yellow jeans. Her attire included a white and tan shirt, a white bra, and distinctive knee-high socks featuring multicolored stripes. A single light tan moccasin, characterized by twine laces and a rubber sole, was discovered near her remains, believed to have belonged to her. Other fabric pieces were also present on her body. Over her face were 2 bandanas and a grass seed bag, which had been secured behind her neck with a square knot. One bandana was blue and white, while the other was orange and white, with the latter having been altered to accommodate her facial features. In addition to the bag covering her face, a fragment of the grass seed bag was found lodged in her throat. The investigation revealed that ligature strangulation, along with other factors, was the definitive cause of her demise. A bag discovered at the scene bore the inscription, Farm Bureau Association, Grass Seed, Lexington, Mass. Furthermore, her hands were meticulously bound behind her back with a high-quality bandage, showcasing intricate knotwork. A significant quantity of chlorpromazine, a sedative typically prescribed for schizophrenia, was detected in her stomach, prompting speculation about a connection to a mental health facility, either involving the victim or her assailants. The sheet enveloping her body matched those commonly found in inpatient care settings. Forensic experts assessed her physical attributes, estimating her weight to be between 149 and 159 pounds, and her height ranging from 5 feet 6 to 5 feet 9 inches. Her blood type was identified as O positive. Evidence indicated prior dental treatment. She had 3 molars extracted and 5 remaining teeth filled, suggesting a background of adequate financial means. Additionally, one of her teeth was notably misaligned. A poorly executed tattoo, possibly initials, was observed on her left arm, featuring 2 letters that could be interpreted as JP, SS, JB, or a similar combination. She also had pierced ears and a scar on her upper right thigh, along with a widow's peak on her forehead. Her appearance included wavy dark brown to black hair that fell to her shoulders, complemented by brown eyes and a dark olive complexion. The precise racial and ethnic identity of the victim remained a mystery to investigators and medical examiners, although there was a prevailing belief that she may have been of Caucasian descent. Following the discovery of her body, fingerprint and dental records were meticulously gathered to aid in her identification, with her fingerprints entered into national databases alongside her dental chart. A series of investigations ensued in pursuit of clarity in this tragic case. The individual in question has previously been associated with areas in Massachusetts and New York. Recent findings suggest she may have been a teenage immigrant from Central or South America, having resided in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, although her family remains untraceable. In 2016, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children disclosed that she might have gone by the names Jasmine or Jassy during her lifetime. Numerous missing women from across the United States have been ruled out as potential identities for Woodlawn Jane Doe. The county police department is currently offering a monetary reward of $2,000 for any information about this case. A particularly notable instance is that of Maria Mia Angiras, a teenager who vanished from her Connecticut home in February 1976. The victim's visage has undergone multiple reconstructions for public dissemination, with 3 versions created by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Additional sketches also exist. The local police department has provided an age regression and another reconstruction, crafted by Eve Grant, in hopes of estimating her appearance at a younger age, should she have been a runaway or known to someone during an earlier phase of her life. Among the items the victim possessed was a key manufactured in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, bearing the inscription DB09212. Furthermore, a grass seed bag linked to a factory in Buffalo, New York, was discovered. This bag had been sold exclusively in the Massachusetts cities of Waltham, Rochdale, Lowell, South Weymouth, and Greenfield. Notably, production of this type of bag had ceased years before the murder. Forensic pollen analysis of the items found alongside the body indicated that she had likely spent time in a densely populated area, such as Boston, Massachusetts, or New York, New York. These findings were bolstered by the presence of cedar and hemlock pollen, which may have originated from locations like the New York Botanical Garden or Harvard University. The case has been highlighted on America's Most Wanted. Although various leads were pursued, they did not result in identifying the victim or her assailants. In December 2015, a significant development was reported by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children after Baltimore County Police received a tip. A potential match was identified, described as a Puerto Rican or Colombian teenager who had relocated to Boston, Massachusetts, with her parents and up to 5 siblings. The tattoo reading JP on her arm was suggested to possibly represent Jamaica Plain, the neighborhood where this potential match resided, specifically on Forbes Street. The investigation also considered possible school locations. However, the department faced challenges in locating the girl's relatives, which temporarily stalled the investigation. On the 40th anniversary of her discovery, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children unveiled an updated reconstruction of the victim. On September 15, 2021, following additional DNA analysis conducted with the support of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Bode Technology, and Othram, detectives successfully identified the girl as 16-year-old Margaret Fetterolf from Alexandria, Virginia. Fetterolf had gone missing in the late summer of 1975 and was a student at Hayfield Secondary School at the time of her disappearance. Her family reported her missing 1 year before the discovery of her body.
On the afternoon of November 4th, 1997, at approximately 4:30 p.m., the lifeless body of 23-year-old Tammy Tigner was discovered near a hiking trail off Gilbride Road in Bridgewater, adjacent to Washington Valley Park. Tragically, Tammy had been strangled, and her death was classified as a homicide. Her remains were found on a dirt access road leading to a cul-de-sac by an ATV enthusiast. In the days that followed, the Bridgewater Police and Somerset County investigators meticulously combed the surrounding woods, seeking any evidence or clues that might unveil the identity of the perpetrator. Despite their efforts, the case lingered in the shadows of uncertainty for years. The last known sighting of Tammy was reported by an individual who saw her enter an orange van around 4 a.m. on that fateful day. This van was later spotted in Newark, a city that Tammy often frequented. Initial DNA evidence collected from her body yielded no leads. Meanwhile, her family endured the profound sorrow of losing their beloved daughter, all while grappling with the knowledge that her killer remained at large. Somerset County Assistant Prosecutor Mike McLaughlin recounted, "Every year on November 4th, the anniversary of Tammy's death, her mother would reach out to our office seeking updates. For years, the county's major crimes and cold case units, in collaboration with local law enforcement, diligently pursued the enigmatic case. Fast forward 25 years to January 2023, when evidence from the case was resubmitted for DNA analysis, a process that had not been feasible in prior years. A few months later, in April, state police achieved a high-stringency DNA match from the resubmitted evidence, leading to the identification of a potential suspect, 60-year-old Robert Creter. In May 2023, a first-degree murder charge was authorized against Creter, yet complications arose. Originally born in Canada, he had been adopted as a child and relocated to New Jersey, but by 2002 he had returned to Winnipeg, Canada. Canadian court records indicated that Creter had faced convictions for 1 count of assault and 2 counts of assault causing bodily harm in 2002. In 2010, he faced conviction for defying a court order, accompanied by 2 violations of probation. At that time, Creter was without a fixed residence in Winnipeg. Investigators connected him to an orange van and uncovered that he had been employed as a day laborer in Bridgewater, New Jersey, coinciding with the discovery of Tammy's remains. Following a collaborative effort between the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office and the U.S. Department of State, Canadian authorities apprehended Creter on June 27, 2024, executing a warrant for his arrest issued in New Jersey. On December 3rd, he was extradited to New Jersey and taken into custody for Tammy's murder, nearly 30 years after her tragic demise. While investigators have yet to reveal a motive for Tammy's murder, they have confirmed that her death was intentional. Notably, Tammy and Creter had no prior acquaintance. Somerset County Assistant Prosecutor Michael McLaughlin remarked, "It has been 27 years, 9,885 days since her body was discovered. I spoke with the victim's mother and informed her that we had apprehended the individual responsible for her daughter's death. The moment was profoundly emotional. She expressed immense gratitude to our detectives, both current and those from the past." The prosecutor clarified that this breakthrough was not the result of genealogical DNA analysis through a family member. Rather, it stemmed from the New Jersey State Police employing advanced DNA testing techniques to reanalyze the sample, ultimately matching it to Creter in the combined DNA index system. John Blalock, a diligent steelworker and devoted father, had his life tragically extinguished within the confines of his Griffith, Indiana apartment. For over 4 decades, his case languished in obscurity until a revolutionary leap in DNA technology rekindled the quest for justice. This harrowing crime perplexed investigators for years, yet an unwavering determination ultimately unveiled the truth behind this long-standing enigma. Born in 1930, John was deeply cherished by his parents, growing up to embody the principles of hard work and commitment. By 1981, at the age of 51, he had established himself as a devoted father and a respected figure in the steel, manufacturing and construction sectors. On the fateful morning of November 3, 1981, concern arose among his co-workers when he failed to appear for work, an occurrence most uncharacteristic of the reliable steelworker. In response to their unease, 2 colleagues ventured to his apartment to check on him. What they discovered was a scene of horror. John Blalock's lifeless body was found in his bedroom, exposed from the waist down, and it was immediately evident that he had met a violent demise. He had been struck in the back of the head, with investigators later identifying a piece of pottery and possibly an alarm clock as the instruments of his fatal injuries. Both items lay shattered near his body, underscoring the brutality of the assault. The crime scene narrated a tale of chaos and savagery. Blood was splattered across various areas of the apartment, indicating a fierce struggle had ensued. Investigators noted stains on a cabinet in the living room, a jacket draped over the couch, the bathroom sink, a green towel, and a china cabinet in the hallway. However, the most significant concentration of blood was found in John's bedroom, where his body was ultimately discovered. Each detail pointed to a violent confrontation, yet the motives behind the attack remained elusive. Among the debris, one peculiar clue emerged, a broken watch adorning John Blalock's wrist. The watch had ceased functioning around 2:15 a.m. on November 1st, 1981, providing a potential timestamp for the moment of the tragic assault. This detail became a central point of interest for investigators, establishing a timeline for the incident and raising inquiries about the events that unfolded in the early hours of that Sunday. This seemingly minor yet crucial element contributed to the unsettling nature of the case, suggesting a premeditated and brutal act. As the inquiry into John Blalock's death progressed, his sons supplied law enforcement with vital information. They disclosed that their father frequently visited a local bar known as John's Place. A bartender from the venue informed investigators that she had seen John there on the night in question, noting that he was in the company of a younger man whom she did not recognize. The individual was described as a white male, approximately 5 feet 8 inches tall, with a medium build, unkempt, dirty blonde hair, and dark eyes. Despite this lead, the absence of solid evidence impeded the advancement of the case. With no suspect identified, John Blalock's case remained unresolved, ultimately becoming a cold case. The investigation lay dormant for many years until 2018, when Griffith Police Detective John Mowry Jr. chose to revisit it. This choice was particularly meaningful, as Detective Mowry's father had been involved in the original investigation. While examining the crime scene photographs, Detective Mowry observed inconsistencies that indicated John's movements after receiving the fatal head injury were improbable. This insight led him to re-evaluate the forensic evidence, concentrating on the blood swabs taken from the bathroom sink and other locations within the apartment. The blood samples were forwarded to the Indiana State Police Lab for DNA analysis, but no matches were found in the National Criminal Database. Lacking a suspect already in the system, the investigation appeared to reach another impasse. Undeterred, Mowry sent the DNA samples to Parabon Nanolabs for further analysis. In a remarkable endeavor, Parabon utilized databases from renowned companies such as 23andMe and Ancestry to uncover familial DNA connections that could unveil the perpetrator. A significant breakthrough occurred in October 2022 when Parabon identified matches to 3 individuals from the same family. This pivotal discovery enabled investigators to systematically eliminate potential suspects through the analysis of supplementary evidence. A hair sample effectively excluded one family member, while a cigarette butt retrieved during a traffic stop ruled out another. This meticulous process ultimately narrowed the focus to a single individual, Gregory Thurston, who had resided in Eugene, Oregon, since at least 2000. Thurston had previous encounters with law enforcement in 2001 and 2013 concerning a 1994 battery warrant from Indiana. However, on both occasions, Indiana authorities opted against extradition due to the considerable distance. On October 24, 2024, Eugene Police, acting on behalf of Indiana detectives, approached Thurston. Under the impression that the inquiry pertained to his old warrant, Thurston willingly cooperated. He was swiftly arrested and charged with the murder of John Blalock. Investigators confirmed that Thurston's description aligned with witness accounts from John's Place in 1981. At the time of the tragic incident, Thurston was between 20 and 23 years old, consistent with the bartender's recollection of the individuals seen with John on the fateful night of November 1st. After 43 long years, the case of John Blalock was finally resolved, providing much-needed closure to his family and the community. The unwavering commitment of Detective Mowry Jr., coupled with advancements in DNA technology, played a crucial role in identifying the suspect. Gregory Thurston now awaits trial at the Lake County Jail for a crime that has cast a shadow over Griffith, Indiana, for more than 4 decades. A concealed reality lingered beneath the facade of a man's seemingly mundane existence, enabling him to elude justice for nearly 4 decades. A string of ghastly offenses across 2 states remained shrouded in mystery for years, leaving a trail of unanswered questions for the victims and their grieving families. The individual responsible for these shocking abductions and assaults was ultimately unmasked, thanks to revolutionary forensic advancements that unveiled his sinister truths, culminating in a long-awaited pursuit of justice. On July 6, 1986, officers from the Phoenix Police Department responded to a distressing report of a kidnapping near the intersection of 10th Street and Coral Gables Drive in Phoenix, Arizona. The distraught parents of the victim recounted their harrowing morning, discovering their home had been ransacked, and to their utter dismay, their daughter was missing. A frantic search ensued, enlisting the help of neighbors and law enforcement, enveloping the community in a palpable sense of urgency and dread. Fortunately, the missing child was located shortly after the alarm was raised, found by vigilant neighbors, and safely returned to her family. The relief was overwhelming, yet lingering questions about the incident's circumstances persisted. Despite the swift resolution in locating the child, investigators were left baffled. Extensive attempts to identify the perpetrator yielded no fruitful leads. Officers meticulously combed through the residence for clues, conducted thorough interviews with neighbors, and pursued every tip that emerged. Yet no suspects came to light, leaving the case in a state of unresolved mystery. The Phoenix Police Department eventually found themselves at an impasse, with no immediate connections to a known offender. Years later, on October 28, 1992, a disturbingly similar crime unfolded in Henderson, Texas. In this instance, another young girl was abducted and assaulted under circumstances that echoed the Phoenix case. As with the earlier incident, law enforcement poured substantial resources into unraveling the crime. The evidence meticulously gathered at the crime scene was processed with the utmost care and entered into the combined DNA index system. However, despite these diligent efforts, no immediate match to a known individual emerged, leaving investigators once again without a suspect. A significant breakthrough occurred when forensic analysis established a connection between the DNA evidence from the Henderson case and an earlier kidnapping in Phoenix, confirming that the same perpetrator was behind both heinous acts. Although the DNA profile was pivotal, it unfortunately did not yield a match within the system, causing frustration among law enforcement due to the constraints of existing technology and resources. Nearly 4 decades after the initial crime, a remarkable advancement took place in 2024, when detectives specializing in cold cases in Phoenix embraced investigative genetic genealogy. Through painstaking work and thorough analysis, this innovative approach produced a promising lead that investigators pursued with vigor. After months of exhaustive investigation, the suspect was identified as 61-year-old David Munt. The culmination of decades of relentless pursuit and the application of cutting-edge forensic science ultimately resolved this long-standing enigma. Collaboration between investigators from Phoenix and Texas was paramount, as they shared vital information and resources to ensure that Munt would be held accountable for his actions. In August 2024, Munt was apprehended in connection with the kidnapping and assault cases from both Phoenix and Henderson. Once the legal process for extradition is finalized, he will be transported to Phoenix to face charges stemming from the 1986 kidnapping and assault, currently held on a bail of $1 million. Authorities in both Texas and Arizona are diligently working together to ensure he is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This arrest not only provides a sense of closure for the victims and their families, but also highlights the critical importance of perseverance in the pursuit of justice for cold cases.